So we ain't really never had no old money. We got a whole lot of new money though. Raindrop, drop, smoking, no cooking, the hot pot. Fucking on your bitch, yeah, cooking up dope in the pot. We came from nothing to something, nigga. I don't trust nobody with the trick, nobody. All of the gang and they come and get gang. Got me a river to do with the shit. Bad and bougie, bad. Cooking up dope with a boozy. My niggas is sad, roof. We got thudders and 100 round too. My bitch is bad and bougie, bad. Cooking up dope with a boozy. My niggas is sad, roof. We got thudders and 100 round too.
What's going on, everybody? Happy Monday. Excited to have you guys with us right here on the Betting News Network. This is your afternoon BETSPRESSO. That is Shaggy Betts. That is Jess Sook. My name is Sweatpan Jesus. Stoked to have you guys with us. Thanks for stopping by. Hello, Prindy. Hello, chat. How we living? Excited to have you guys here. Boys, happy Monday. How's it going?
Oh, we got a T-Mac sighting in chat as well.
Oh,
dude. I haven't heard of T-Mac since college basketball ended, man.
Wow, this guy. Well, he said he's been sleeping the last few weeks. Deservedly so. Deservedly so. What's up, T-Mac? What's up, Goats and chat? Excited to have you guys with us. Thanks for stopping by and hanging out right here on the Betting News Network.
That's awesome.
Thank God, dude. B's usually here on Mondays too, T-Mac, and he probably would have already been crashing out. So you missed out. You got our secondary, a little less unhinged Celtics fan.
Vsauce versus Dan Levitard out there.
Yeah, dude. It's so funny because V just cannot. He can't not get baited. He can't not get baited.
Right.
He is the prime candidate for all the clickbait that gets posted online. He can't stop. It's like we tried to tell him, like, please, dude, stop. You are getting baited. And he's like, I don't care.
I gotta defend my boy.
It's cathartic. It's cathartic for him, I think. It's it helps him with the process.
He's part of the problem. The reason we're seeing so much Jason Tatum hate is because every Celtics fan needs to engage with every post like that.
Fair.
See, Mac, you're getting a little bit of the other side of the story from somebody who actually does like Jason Tatum. So it matters.
Vsauce needs to stop handing out pitchforks and just find a different avenue.
Oh man.
I'm gonna be very interested to see how this game goes tonight. Obviously, we got Jason Tatum and the Celtics taking on Jalen Brunson and the Knicks. Game 4 tonight in the Garden. Huge game in the swing of this series. We're gonna find out. We're gonna talk about that a little bit later. Another game in the NBA. The later game 4s. We got 4 game 4s tonight for you guys. Chat 2 in the NBA, 2 in the NHL. It's going to be a great night of sports, and we're excited that you guys are hanging out with us to get us rocking and rolling. So we're going to talk about all of them with you guys. We're going to give our favorite plays out there. Chat, get involved. Give us your favorite bets that you guys have out there. Get involved with the questions, as always. We're going to have some fun. Before we jump into today, boys, let's talk a little bit about the weekend. Let's talk about what kind of happened. I told these guys to bring one favorite thing that they had happen this weekend, whether it be sports related or life related. Chat, drop what happened for you guys this weekend and what you liked looking at out there, whether it was in the sports world or somewhere else. What stood out to you? Mr. Shaggle Betts, Mr. Reverend, you want to take us away and give us your favorite thing that happened this weekend?
Yeah, well, I mean, favorite thing's easy. My boy got married. So that was favorite thing. But no, something that stuck out to me, it's kind of more of, I guess, a question for the class. Are the Toronto Maple Leafs in trouble? They were up 2-0, won both games at home against the Florida Ice Cats, and then were up 3-1 very early in game 3 before letting the Panthers come back and win that one in overtime. And then they just got skunked last night back in Sunrise. Now they get to head back home for game 5, which I think helps their case. But this Ice Cats team is like the Oilers, and they're very, very streaky. I think they've got a lot of momentum on their side, and everyone in the world is kind of just waiting for Toronto to melt down in the playoffs like they do every year. So are they in trouble? Are things heating up in Florida for the Ice Cats? I think so.
I'm a little bit. It's one of those situations with teams like this. the Maple Leafs. So there's a lot of teams in all sports that as soon you always have to answer these questions until you get the monkey off your back.
Yep.
Like that is the part of this situation. I mean, we'd be talking a completely different conversation about Jason Tatum if they didn't win the championship last year. So, to circle it back to that, but I know, but you did. But the Maple Leafs haven't, and they have not done, and they have collapsed in historic fashion many, many times over the years. So I think it's a valid point, dude. I think that Game 5, they have to win that Game 5 at home.
Should I crash out just a little bit?
Sure.
Please.
The Maple Leafs, they're the fucking Cowboys. They're just in a media fucking place. Everybody just talking about them all the time,
Great comparison.
They're just like, oh, yeah, we're going to fucking fuck with the cap system and give guys bonuses and fuck with taxes and they are literally pulling out every dirty trick. They got all the fucking money in the world, and every fucking year we got sharps like Shaggy literally going, yo, the numbers, it shouldn't be happening like this. And legit, we just have to acknowledge it's the Toronto Maple Leafs, and we need to come up with some sort of clever curse. There's no Bambino north of the border, but we got to find something. Maybe Tim Hortons being sold off to an American conglomerate was the start of that curse being solidified. Maybe. There's a lot of reasons why this team is just weird, but I'm here for it. I'm literally here for the fall of the Maple Leafs every fucking year. Right there, Jerome McGinley.
Yeah, you have good reason to, in comparison to most people that just like to hate on them because they are. That's a great, like Jack said, that's a fantastic comparison.
Yeah, I don't know if I've heard that one, but Leafs Cowboys. Oh my gosh, same thing.
1-1.
Speaking of the Cowboys, you guys saw they're dropping the NFL schedule throughout the week this week. Game 1 of the NFL season will be the Dallas Cowboys taking on the Super Bowl champ Philadelphia Eagles. Why are the Cowboys playing the Eagles? I mean, I guess I get it from an NFC East perspective, but it probably ties into what you just talked about, Sook. Like, it's the Dallas Cowboys. And, they've got some shiny new toys. Maybe they want to show them off.
So easily thrown the Commanders in there, kept it a divisional NFC East game, and then you got a rematch of the NFC Championship. I think the Lions go to Philly this year too.
But it's the Cowboys, Shaggy.
Well, yeah, exactly.
Cowboys.
Right? They just got George Pickens, guys. The Cowboys are back, man.
I actually like that pickup though. I think that could be fun for the Cowboys, just from a.
It's not going to matter when Dak Prescott's your quarterback. So.
True.
Or until people start bitching in that wide receiver room about targets.
Oh my God. Him and CD going back and forth. That's going to be fun.
Just throw the ball to Jake Ferg. He's all you got.
Yeah. They did that right
now they sound kind of dangerous when you're building it up like that.
Yeah. Who's their running back? Who's it?
Jadon Blue. They drafted him out of Texas.
Yeah.
There was a graphic put up of who's stopping this Cowboys team. It's the Cowboys skill players. Freaking Dak Prescott, CD, George Pickens, Jake Ferd, and Jadon freaking Blue, who hasn't played an NFL snap.
The Cowboys are stopping the Cowboys.
Exactly. You don't need to worry about stopping the Cowboys. They'll do it themselves.
I saw the graphic of who's stopping this lineup, and it was the sun coming through the windows at Jerry's World, and that's probably true at some point because of how terribly that stadium is designed. I do agree this is gonna be interesting to play out, just to give a little bit of shade or a color on that. But crazy that they're, like you said, the Commanders would have been a slam dunk. I don't know what they were doing on that one, right. But it's the Cowboys; they'll get eyeballs regardless. All right, yeah. Good rant. Also, a little preview to talk about the two games on the ice tonight. The Maple Leafs obviously not playing tonight, but the other two matchups are happening this evening. So, been fun in the NHL offs. So, what stood out to you this weekend?
I actually cheated, and what stands out to me is the NBA draft tonight. A lot of things are going to shake down, and this is going to be our first domino, boys, into what happens in the landscape of the NBA. We got superstars like Giannis Antetokounmpo being touted to be traded, and now we heard Zion's going to be traded, but now Zion is actually going to be their representative at the draft. I don't know a franchise that would send a dude and then trade him 2 days later. So now we're also seeing a guy like Shaggy can speak on this probably better than I can. A guy like Dylan Harper. If Portland ends up with that number 2 pick, you got Anthony, you got Sharp, you add in Dylan Harper, you got Scoot Henderson. You're making a trade because you also got 3 centers. So really, really, really excited for tonight's NBA draft lottery because that's where we're going to start teams. Looking in the future, what they're going to do. Milwaukee, obviously, with Giannis, they're all of their draft rights actually hold with the Pelicans. So a lot of weird things are going to happen today. Cooper Flag could end up in Utah. He could end up in Washington. And I'm just so excited because whoever ends up with that number 1 lottery ball, they're taking Cooper, right?
Yep.
Yeah,
No
I don't
question.
see no question about it. I did see an interesting thing on the Zach Lowe show podcast talking about the NBA. If you guys like the NBA, you should check out his podcast. It's really good. He was proposing the fact that the Spurs could maybe, if they get the number 1 overall pick, like they could maybe trade it to the Bucks for Giannis, because then you get, that would be the one piece or the one team that could get the 1 overall pick that like could trade it for something that's not Cooper Flag. Because then you have the Wemby Giannis combination versus the Wemby Flag combination. So I could see that playing out pretty well. It's going to be super interesting. We'll talk about it more probably on Wednesday on Sauce Team, but it is going to be super interesting to see this Giannis sweepstakes play out. I know we got the playoffs to get through. I don't think anything's going to happen in that regard until the middle of the summer or even near close to the start of the season. But like you said, a lot of dominoes might fall tonight, and we might get a preview of what is going to shake down with a guy like Giannis or a guy like Zion on the move.
And real quick, if I can, Shags, 2 questions. Am I crazy to think Jeremiah Fears and Trey Johnson sneakily might end up 2-3 best in this draft? I really fucking like those kids. Jeremiah Fears still hasn't turned 19.
Right. Yeah, he's just young, but he was obviously just a dog at Oklahoma. And then Trey Johnson, the same way. Both of those guys, very, very good, very talented. Their ceilings are incredible.
Mm-hmm.
Do you guys think that we've talked about Flag, and we can kind of maybe gab about this for a second? Do you guys think that he is going to be the next kind of Wemby type player, or does what happened in the tournament and those moments of him kind of falling apart in those big shot moments, does that change your idea about what he could be as an NBA player, or does it still stand? He just young guy, didn't have the right moments or didn't quite land his way, but he's still going to be a superstar?
I got to give him grace. He's a young guy on the national stage like that, he really hasn't been on it before. So all the lights were on him. I think he'll be able to get over it and excel in the NBA.
Oh yeah, for sure.
I saw a highlight reel of him. I'm sure you probably watched a lot more Duke games than we did this season. And I mean, that guy can yam on some kids, man.
Oh, yeah.
And seeing a freak athlete like that can move, it's going to be awesome. So shout out to whoever gets the number 1 pick tonight. You're going to have a fantastic basketball player joining your team. Hope Prendy really wants it to be the 76ers, really bad. And no lie,
10% chance.
If the Sixers got him, like him and Maxey and McCain would be pretty sexy time. Not going to lie. I know Sook hated hearing that, but that would be fun.
If there's any fuckery, it's going to be the Spurs. I've been seeing this on the timeline from some draft sharps that I like, and they're kind of talking about like anytime there's been a dude like this, it's always been weird. LeBron ending up in Ohio, the Patrick Ewing draft in the late whenever it was, but like things always happen and they shake out weird. And I think the NBA and Adam Silver, we saw one thing weird happen already this season and Luka being moved. So who's to say? Another white boy been doing weird things. Who knows?
It's white boy summer, apparently.
Yeah, exactly.
Chet was just off by 3 years.
Yeah, he was. He's doing fine, though. The Thunder are okay. He's doing all right. Okay, those are the 2 good ones. 2 really good ones. Mine are both also kind of today, so I sort of cheated as well. Although one of them is kind of a saga that has been happening over the last couple of weeks. But first one is shout out to Chris Berman. Chris Berman signed a contract extension today with ESPN. He is now going to be going into his 50th season with ESPN. So it's his 50th anniversary working with ESPN. Longest tenured analyst with ESPN ever. And also he covered the very first ESPN first Super Bowl broadcast in his 50th anniversary at the network. So shout out to Chris Berman. One of the few reasons I think that ESPN is still afloat is SVP, Pat McAfee, and Boomer. So shout out Chris Berman. The second one, boys, and this is kind of drama, so we don't have to talk about this for too long, but have you guys seen more stuff today that came out about Bill Belichick and what's going on with him at UNC? So
maybe not today.
Okay, I'll read you some of this. So this is all from Pablo Torres. So this is all kind of he said, she said stuff right now, but everything that's kind of happened that he said so far leading up to this has been pretty accurate. Apparently that that what's going on at UNC is it's getting so messy with how this whole stuff has gone from a PR perspective that there's a possibility that he may not even be the head coach of UNC by week 1 of the college football season. They still have a buyout clause in his contract. Apparently, he kind of set up the contract to where he could then like buy out of it at a particular point, they wouldn't have to pay him the maximum amount of money if an NFL team came and sniffing around at this particular juncture. But with how everything went on the Sunday morning interview, apparently he's going on Good Morning America later this week. This is just an outright disaster. I don't know if this is actually legit, the way that this is going down, but like the fact that this guy was so highly touted to come to UNC, and I mean, Shags, like one of the highest paid head coaches in college football that's going to be coming in, obviously a future Hall of Famer in the NFL, and for it to go just so south so quickly is just, it's like literally watching a plane crash with no confirmation of the outcome, but you can't look away. And I'm not really the type of person that likes that type of drama, but watching this play out is super interesting just because there's a lot of ramifications that are going to happen around this. So seeing that story today and seeing kind of the he said, she said stuff about this is super interesting. So I won't speculate because I don't know, obviously, but what's your thoughts on Big Bill, man?
Oh, I don't know. I've been worried about Big Bill for a while now.
Man, it's pretty crazy, man.
Did you guys see what Gronk said about it?
No. What did Gronk say about it?
He was kind of insinuated that the whole Patriot way was eliminate distractions and play football.
Yeah.
Now what old Billy Sweatshirt is up to. Old Billy Sweatshirt. She and his girlfriend is also like still running pageants. I'm pretty sure she was in a pageant this week. Like she is out and about making the rounds. And this just seems like a very weird situation for a guy that doesn't even comb his hair. And now he's so concerned about dating a supermodel. I'm just this is a end of life crisis, 3/4 life crisis, whatever you want to call it.
Midlife. Well, this is like he's going through a midlife crisis at 70 years old.
Well, you can't be midlife then. He's not living to 140. Look at him.
Yeah, for sure. Does he have a red sports car that he purchased recently too? Because then I'd be really worried.
Yeah.
But
do you guys think he's the coach? Come start of season?
I have no idea, to be honest with you at this point. But I mean, if you have thoughts of him potentially not being the coach, you got to figure something out. It's 4 months away. It's one summer away from football season. So
like,
boosters
isn't
are
that
not going to be happy?
I was going to ask you, Shags, isn't that ridiculously close to try to change up your program before the season start?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's close doing that in the off season, because the off season's so short, especially with recruiting and NIL and everything. Now it's just, it's not just pulling guys from high school. You got to fight to fill a roster. So there's so much more that goes into it. Yeah. It's hard enough to do it on 4 months, that you normally get. So trying to do it any sooner would be insane.
With the NIL too, and with all these guys going in the portal and stuff like that too, could you imagine if Bill ends up not coaching them, or this comes out in the next month and a half or something that he's going to be gone? How many of those guys are going to dip and go somewhere else?
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I didn't even think about that.
I came here to play for Bill Belichick. He's not coaching anymore. I'm not playing here anymore.
See ya. Yeah.
And it's simple. Like a lot of guys won't want to waste a year of their eligibility with some interim head coach. I don't care if I'm transferring 2 months before the school year starts. It's just what has to happen.
Most of these guys, like, they don't have any allegiances to the programs. Right. Especially if they're freshmen coming in, or even if they're sophomores, maybe some of the juniors and seniors if they've stuck around that long. But like with how quickly these guys can move on and go other places, I can't imagine that any of them will stick around. Especially if they were
what you said too, SPJ, NIL, that the landscape that's going to affect the NBA draft as well, because some guys that are coming out, they're going to literally tell teams like, hey, I had an opportunity to make money in college still. If you're going to draft me, I need to know I'm going to play. And then another factor that plays this, I love the NBA draft, is that all this new second apron stuff, a guy like the guard out of Florida who's proven he can be a lead guard, like those guys they have skyrocketed in value.
Clayton
Jr.
Clayton Jr.
Yeah. real quick, just for we don't have to go into this too long because we got plenty of time in the off season. But can you like dumb it down for me and just in 30 seconds explain what the second apron is? Can you just like give that a quick little rundown?
So it's basically like there's first apron, second apron, third apron. Third apron is basically you're locked in Siberia. You can't do anything. Second apron basically becomes your mid-level exemption is not every year anymore. It's every other year, and other things like you can't trade your first round picks for every there's already the Stepien rule that you can't trade more than 3 years in a row. So it basically handcuffs you to a point where if you do anything, you're pulling out this giant book and trying to figure out if you can even do it. Adam Silver has already talked about that this year and last year they were getting trade requests from teams that couldn't even complete trades. So it's been a mess, and that might be why we've seen less trades in the NBA recently.
Okay. That was a good. I'll have to go read more about that because you've said it so many times, and I kind of understand it, but there's parts of it that I would not be a good general manager in the NBA. Sounds like some of the general managers that are general managers in the NBA would not be good general managers. But
Bobby Marks talking mad shit on the timeline one day, going, "I have a sneaking suspicion over half of the front offices do not understand the second apron."
They like me. So except they need to, it's part of their job, but it's part of my job too. But I have Sook, and that's what good. All right, guys. Well, that's what happened this weekend. Yeah, Mr. Marcio, make college football great again.
We need it.
We need it bad. Bill's trying, but he's doing other stuff to fumble it around. I don't know.
Distracted.
He's distracted, very distracted. The last thing about this before we jump into today is like, this is the whole drama part of sports that I don't like that much, which is why I don't understand why this story is so interesting to me. But I think it's just because it feels like a tip of a super deep iceberg that
somebody's probably going to.
All right now. Yep. Somebody somewhere, somehow. Yeah.
Name Bill.
Oh, man. All righty. To sports we go. This is brought to you by our sponsors at BetOnline Chat. Forgot to say that at the beginning. You can get that QR code above Mr. Sook's head and get $250 dropped into your account. Big thanks to BetOnline for giving the best lines in the biz every single day. We're going to have the smack and bet of the day in just a second to get you guys primed and ready to dive into the ice. No baseball plays today, but Mr. Marcio wrote about stuff at bettingnews.com. You guys can go peep the scribbles over there. Shax, you don't have baseball, do you?
No baseball for me today. Didn't really like anything.
Yeah, word. All right, so get your smacking bags ready. Mr. Betts is going to dive into the ranch, and let's find out, chat, what's smacking.
Ooh, what's smacking, folks? These freaking ranch seeds are smacking. That's what's up. Down the hatch. You know what else is smacking today? The freaking Canes. The Canes are at home hosting the Capitals. 3 games into the series, they're leading 2-1. They have absolutely freaking dominated this series. Let me explain. We're taking the Canes on the puck line. No, I got plus 110. I got some CLV. It's minus 110 right now. That is A-okay. Canes are winning this by 2. They have outshot the Capitals in every single game of this series by an average of 11 shots on goal per game. That's a wide margin, but it gets better. Carolina peppering the net 29.7 times per game, forcing the Capitals to block over 30 shots a game. Not including shots missed wide of the net. That means the Canes are taking 70, 75 shot attempts per game. Good things happen when you pepper the net. I'm going to back the Canes. I got them at home. They are taking advantage of the power play, 3-8 on the power play opportunity. This freaking ranch seasoning is phenomenal, by the way. I'm just sucking it down as much as I can. 3-8, 3-8 on the power play. 2-2 at home. Got both of those opportunities last night while killing their other penalties. Washington needs to make adjustments on both sides of the puck. They're not going to be able to do it. Too much pressure is on Logan Thompson between the pipes. He's not getting help from his defenders. He's not getting offensive help. Bad things are happening for the Capitals. Good things are happening for the Canes. In Raleigh, it's going to be rocking tonight. Give me the Canes by 2 for some plus money. 10% off Code vibes. Smacking seeds. Ranch is phenomenal. I'm gonna suck these puppies down. That's what's smacking.
The officiant has spoken.
I told my grandma about that segment yesterday. She thought it was hilarious.
Really?
Like, you sell a pick with like a bunch of seeds in your mouth? I was like, yeah, I do.
It's I'm glad that
not. Yeah, it's pretty hard, to be honest. I just want to enjoy them.
It is really difficult. I'm sad I made you laugh a little bit because I was like, oh God, please don't choke. That would be just the worst on the channel.
I made you laugh, and that made me laugh.
Yeah, facts, exactly. Well, as Shaq said, you guys can check out Smacking Seeds. You can get any flavor that you want. That was the ranch. We've done cheddar jalapeno. We've done lemon pepper seed. We've got all the different flavors.
Coming up soon, I promise.
Happening really soon. You can get a 10% off. We've already had a couple people buy some bags with our promo code. Go check them out at smackingseeds.com. Promo code vibes for 10% off.
You like this, Jay Dizzle?
I wish. Oh, all right now. All right now. Good stuff. All right. Well, let's talk about the great job. Obviously, distributing through the seeds. Let's talk about the other games on the ice tonight. Obviously, you just talked about this Capitals-Canes game. Dude, they just mantled them last game. They destroyed them.
Mm-hmm.
I like them again, like you said. I'm a little scared that maybe the Caps come with a little bit of fire. They just got dominated last game, but at home the Canes are just a buzzsaw, man.
Mm-hmm.
So I like what do you think about the total?
I was gonna say, what do you guys think about the over?
So my gut just leans with the under, but that doesn't really help my puck line case because I'd hate to be sitting 3-2 game and cheering for
begging for a goal.
Yeah, begging for one to happen. So I think Logan Thompson's gonna give. The guy has, like I said, he's been the reason the Caps are still competing in this series. And when you're peppered that many times per game, you can't show up every single time. So I think there are going to be some goals. I do kind of like the over, especially with me thinking the Canes are going to be able to go over. I mean, game 3 probably would have gone over had the Caps contributed in any way, shape, or form. But 21 shots, 0 goals. That doesn't get the job done. So 5.5 plus money. I think it's worth a stab. I could definitely see this being like a 4-2 game for the Canes. But I would lean over.
We haven't seen. Have any of these games in this series gone over yet? I think they've all gone under.
Mm-hmm.
They're due for one, I guess, but I kind of like the under again. And I don't like unders that often, but just I kind of agree with you. And maybe this feels like a 3-1 or 2-0, or I could see them getting skunked again. I mean, I know Ovechkin's no slouch in this situation, and I like the Caps to maybe get past the Canes, but I don't know, man. It's looking like maybe curtains for this team.
I think so too. They need this one, and I don't think you're going to get it on the road.
Yeah. Yep. Big game 5 will be coming after this one, regardless of what happens. We're either going to have a 2-2 best of 3, or we're going to have the possibility of the Caps having to fight for their life at home in DC on game 5, which will be fun either way. All right, let's go to the late night game. Sook probably has a couple more thoughts on this one. And I'm very interested to hear you talk about this because Shags wrote about this game at bettingnews.com and peeped the scripts to get his ideas on this one. Shout out to the Oilers and the Knights. They cashed this out on our parlay from the weekend because we had the over, and the Oilers ended up scoring that crazy goal right before the end of regulation.
Yeah.
But then the Knights just said, no worries. We don't need overtime. We'll just score right before the end of regulation anyways and win 4-3 in desperation fashion. I know you were kind of preaching preaching because you're an officiant, preaching the possibility of there being a sweep in this series. And to be honest, I mean, they got lucky the fact they may not get it. What are we seeing in this one tonight, man? Do you like the Oilers to come back in and get the job done, or what are we thinking?
I do. I really like the Oilers. I really don't want to back them with Stuart Skinner in net, which is going to be the case as Calvin Picard's banged up again. So I do think Edmonton comes out firing. They only had 20 shots on net in game 3. That's the lowest they've had like all year long. The Vegas actually held them to 20 shots earlier in like April, but It's the Edmonton Oilers. We know who they have on their offense.
Mhm.
McDavid, Draisaitl. They pepper the net. They shoot the thing over 30 times per game. And they're coming off a game where the Knights were very good and very, very good at containing that attack. Knights or the Oilers got to come out screaming at home. You can't let the Knights go to your place and steal two and then go back to their place. That'd be just giving them way too much momentum. Obviously, I was preaching sweep after 2 games, thinking we'd head back to Edmonton and they'd take care of business at home. But the Knights showed up, they rallied. Obviously, looking to even up this series before we head back to Vegas. But I got to play on the total. It's stinky. I'll be honest. I really don't recommend tailing. But I'm taking the under 6.5. That's way too big of a plus sign for me not to take this. We've actually had 4 of 7 games between these two teams stay under 6.5 goals. 2 of those ended at 6. Guess what? That's under 6.5 plus money. This is kind of just a plums play. I'm not going to try and sell you on the stats because Aiden Hill hasn't been very good this series. Stuart Skinner has been god awful in the playoffs. He can only play better, and that's kind of what I'm banking on. But really, I don't think Vegas is going to spend a lot of time on offense. I think they're going to spend majority of this game just defending the Oilers' attack because I think Edmonton just comes out absolutely screaming, which is why I should probably just back the Oilers on the money line. But I'm going with the under 6.5 for 4+ money.
I'm not gonna lie, dude. I read this and I was like, this guy, man, this guy just likes pain.
I texted my dad too. I was like, don't tail this. This is what I'm taking, but don't tail it. We were texting earlier and I was like, I like the Oilers. I don't really want to back them with Skinner. Texted him, after I wrote it. I ended up taking the under. Don't tail.
Yeah. I mean, there are. I will say, and we said this last time when we talked about this over the weekend. They're due for an under. Like all these games have soared. The last one was obviously a crazy fashion the way that game ended. But I kind of like Aiden Hill saves. No bets on it officially, but kind of like what you were talking about. I like the 25.5. I think the Oilers are going to try to pepper the net as much as possible, Absolutely. Like you mentioned. So the 25.5 saves looks enticing based on all the things you kind of just mentioned. But yeah, I was leaning over. I'm not gonna lie. I don't have any bets on it.
There's gonna be five goals in the first period. Don't take this bet, people. This is why I did not do this for the smack and bet.
Or it's 1-0 and you're gonna look super duper smart.
No, it's one of two. I am planning on looking very stupid, but if I look very smart, I look very smart. I didn't get him. Damn it. Pretty cool.
We talked about this on, like I said, on Saturday, and I looked at my phone when we were sweating out the bet because we had gotten to the point where that was the last leg that we needed. And it was 2-2 at the end of the first period. It was 3-2, actually. The Knights scored right before the end of the first period. And I was like, oh, baby, 5 goals first period. We're set over 6.5. Going into the third, not a peep. Not another goal had been sniffed. And I was really sweating. And I was like, these motherfuckers, man, if they hook us on getting 5 first period goals and we don't get there. But
well, I feel bad for people in the non-betting sense. And you know how many people probably got up for a beer and came back and the game was over?
Yeah,
true.
Right.
This is why you never, ever leave your seat in these situations. Also, I have a real quick rant that I'd like to give you guys. And I've been noticing this more and more watching the NBA playoffs and the NHL playoffs. And chat, maybe you guys have seen this too watching these games. I will never, and I've gone to many sporting events in my life, not playoffs, but just regular sporting events. I will never understand when somebody leaves a playoff game before it is zeros on the clock. I don't care if your team's getting dragged by 40. You may never go back to that arena ever again. Why are you leaving? It's a little bit extra traffic. I mean, I guess if you got to catch a flight or something, sure, maybe you can sell me on one of those situations, but like, I'll never understand because then like you said, so somebody might have left thinking they're going to beat traffic and get home, or they want to go grab a beer or go, piss or something, and they miss the game. That's the whole point of going to the game, is to watch those things happen live in front of you and see it. Like, I'll never understand that. And I mean, I know there's all the different things that can happen, like you're trying to beat all the traffic and all that bullshit, but like, you went to the game, just watch the game and enjoy the game.
Okay, since we're ranting and raving, all those assholes with their phones out too, recording it. Nobody wants to see, like, when LeBron hit the points and the whole crowd everyone's phone was just out.
Yes.
Like, dude, ESPN's recording it and broadcasting it. We don't need your video. We don't need it.
They have better angles.
Yeah, you can just
No
wait for
one
the
wants to
professional-
watch your video.
You're watching history through a screen while it's happening on the other side of the screen.
Right,
Make that
literally.
make sense.
We are a culture of that. I mean, I'm pretty bad about this when I go to concerts. I like to film stuff that happens at the concert. I feel like that's a tiny bit different, but like enjoy the moment, man. You know, live in the moment, enjoy it.
No one wants to watch your POV video. No one's gonna,
There's
like,
other websites for that. You can
right,
go there.
Exactly. I don't want the LeBron highlights. Come on now.
All right. Cool. Good stuff. Sounds like Canes by 2 is going to go into our parlay today. What?
You heard me.
Huh?
You heard me. Choose my words very carefully, as you can tell.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. All right. Yeah, it is Rusty. It is. You subscribe to the OnlyFans. You know the deal. Yeah. All right, let's swing and talk about the NBA. 2 big games tonight in the association. V's not here today, so you're going to get a semi not as biased take about the Celtics Knicks game. But I don't know what Slick's going to bring to the table. We will see. Boston Celtics 6-point favorites going into the Garden for Game 4, looking to even up the series after they got the job done in Game 3. Over under set at 208.5, as you can see by our friends at BetOnline. I'll bring this up, Slick, before we kind of gab about this game. Scott Foster is refereeing this game today. The Knicks are 3-0 ATS and straight up when Scott Foster officiates New York Knicks games in the playoffs. The closer is set to not close, but maybe help in this series. But I don't know if you really buy into that bullshit. As a Celtics fan, what are you thinking? How are you feeling going into this game? I've got a couple bets to mention. I know you don't like betting on your team, but what are you liking in this one?
Weirdly, you know me, I don't like Celtic spread, so I'm probably not going to touch that. But I'll probably build some, because you know me, I like little action in the game, so I'll probably build Tatum 20 points, 5 assists with the money line. Probably come out to plus money. I'll probably bet that. But I think a straight that I really do like in this game, weirdly enough, is just the over on the total for the game. These guys have been playing each other for a number of games now. The feeling out process has kind of happened. I expect these teams just like, what's the Vsauce saying? Positive regression. These guys are shooting splits, have to come back down, come up to earth. Like, the guys are shooting horribly. So I really do like that over. I think that's my thing I had circled and I had the most favorite is just over 208.
I like that. I feel like that we're due for one of these superstars to have like a big game. And we haven't really seen that in this series. All the games have been incredible, but we haven't seen like the Tatum 35 piece, the Brunson 40 piece. We haven't seen that happen in one of these games. We've seen some incredible comebacks and we've seen some crazy stuff in the first 2 games of the series. But I'll kind of tie into what I think is going to happen based on that. I like the over. I have a feeling that tonight we might get a Jalen Brunson masterclass. This is just purely kind of what Shag's saying. This is a little bit from the plums here. This is not me selling you guys on that this is going to happen specifically, but this guy is the New York Knicks right now, and he watched this team come into his garden in his house and kind of mollywop them in Game 3. He played pretty well. He was good. He had 27 and 7. So he's not like he didn't play well enough for them to possibly win, but they were losing from the get-go, and they never really got back into that game. I think that Brunson's going to come out tonight and want to assert himself offensively and assert himself to kind of dictate the pace and dictate the tempo, because the problem with Game 3 was the fact that the Celtics came in and they established their play style in the Knicks building, and that was the reason why they ended up winning that game, and the fact that they shot better from 3. But that goes with the fact that it was the Celtics style of play in the Knicks arena. I feel like we're going to flip-flop it a little bit. I think that the one adjustment that Tibbs probably focused on, amongst others, is we need to play our style of basketball from the tip and not try to catch up with what they're doing. And that goes.
And they were one of the most efficient offenses in all of the NBA, which we haven't seen in the first few games.
Because, you can everything that Brunson's done in crunch time is incredible. And I mean, he's the clutch player of the year for a reason, but like, you can't save it all for the fourth quarter. Like, you got to, if you start earlier and get kind of going offensively earlier, then you don't have to do that later. It's great that you can do that, and he might have to do that again. But I feel like that they're going to like really rely on his offense in this game. So the first bet I have in this one is over 34.5 PA from Jalen Brunson. Again, if you want to just take the points, go ahead and do that. I don't see a way that he's not going to flirt with this number or get over that, even just with points. Like I said, I kind of have a feeling he's due for a 35 or 40 piece game. We haven't seen that this round of the playoffs. He did it a couple times against the Pistons in their last series. So I don't know what that's going to mean for the result of this game. The Celtics, obviously, if they're making their threes and if they're playing their style of basketball, this game could be a 10-point game very easily. But I have a feeling the Knicks are going to punch back a little bit in this one, and I think that Brunson's going to be in a prime spot to kind of take advantage offensively, and they're going to need it. So I really like Brunson just to be a little chalky. And then the other prop that I really like in this game, I looked at Tatum quite a bit. I feel like that he is due as well for kind of that similar – what's up, V.Done? Kind of similar logic, but I don't want to just pitch you guys both superstars. So I'll try to be a little bit less chalky than that. I love this prop, Sook. This might be my favorite today, and you can kind of speak on this a little bit more. I love Derek White. I love Derek White. Over 25.5 PRA is the line that I got for Derek White. Didn't have to do a whole bunch last game. Was very efficient, 17 points, 3 rebounds, and 2 assists, but they didn't really need his offense as much. Peyton Pritchard was really good off the bench. Jaylen Brown was obviously hitting his shots, and as I said, Jason Tatum was finally stroking from deep as well. But Derek White's been kind of the reason that they were able to stick around in those last 2 games, and they had big leads going forward. He had almost a triple-double in one of these series. He had 9 boards and 5 assists in game 2 with 20 points. He's had 19 and 20 points in the last 2 games of this series. His offensive aggressiveness is one of the X factors for this team, especially with Drew Holiday being not the offensive player that we've seen in previous seasons. So Derek White has to take on that offensive onus, and he's been doing that. I love the PRA just because he's also been hitting the glass. He's a taller guard. They've been taking advantage of him hitting the offensive boards and grabbing defensive rebounds with the problems that Cat and Mitchell Robinson caused down low for this team. So he's having to help on the glass, and he's doing just that. Last point on this, he hit this in 4 straight games leading up to this last game where they ended up winning by 20-plus points. So I think that we're going to see a revert back to Derek White being a reliable offensive player from a shot-making perspective. They're going to need his rebounding, and obviously his facilitating is always there as one of the primary ball handlers. So love Derek White's PRA. I got 24.5 last night. It's actually up to 25 or 26.5, depending on where you're shopping. I still like it there. I think that he should flirt with 31 or 32 PRA and have a good night all around for the Celtics. So I really like Derek White, and I like Jalen Brunson in this game. And I kind of lean with you. I like the over. I think we're going to see some offense in this one.
I do really like that one because, like you said, a guy like Drew's kind of looked old, as has Al Horford. And Peyton Pritchard is the 6th man. A guy like Derek White is going to be out there for a lot of minutes, and the PRA looks comfy. Like you said, game 2, 11 rebounds. He's a guy that kind of does it all, and he's going to be forced in a lot of actions, which means a lot of stats for your box score because he's going to be in a lot of mess with Jalen Brunson. I really like that, Jay.
Nice. A couple things on the Celtics side, and then we can move to the second game. We talked about it. Asiatic, don't worry. We talked about it. 2 things I'll bring up, and then we'll move to the second game. First one is, Chad just asked about this. What's your thoughts on Porzingis? His lines were so incredibly low. He's been terrible this series. Just looks very, very lost and very, very ill to getting over this, whatever the ailment is that he's been dealing with. But this is a guy that can easily put up 15 to 20 points. And his points line is like 6.5 or something crazy. Do you think the Tingus Pingus finally comes back around and plays well in the Garden tonight, or do you think that we need to wait and see first before we buy any Tingus stock?
I think Tingus, you wait. If you're a responsible gambler and you watch your units, I don't think that it's responsible per se to put a wager on a guy whose minutes are not his traditional minutes. He's out of the rotation how he traditionally would be. I don't know if that's smart, but I will tell you that I know my friend Vsauce probably has Kristaps 15 points and about several parlays. It's still Kristaps Porzingis. It's still a 7'3" unicorn against his former squad. He still has all the talent in the world. I don't know. I just don't know. Me personally, I have nothing with Kristaps tonight. It's just scary for me.
His points line is 8.5. And he had 8 points in game 2, 5 in game 3, and didn't have any points in game 1. He only played 13, and 18 minutes in this series. So as you mentioned, his PT is sus. But this is a guy, as I mentioned, that was a 15 to 20 point scorer for the Celtics most of the season this year. So not a bad ladder spot, chat, if you do think, because we could see Porzingis come out and hit 2 threes, hit a couple buckets, get going, and 10 points is nice plus money. So last thing, how do you feel about Cat tonight? Cat's been really good the last couple of games. His rebounds, especially on the glass, but he scored the last 2 as well. His PR's hitting back-to-back games. Kind of fucked up his hand last game. It seemed like that he's dealing with that hand problem. but I don't think that's going to affect him too much, as it is his offhand, not his shooting hand. Thoughts on Cat tonight? You've been a big bodega guy all season. What do you think about Cat?
I think more than just the hand, we've kind of thrown him off finally. He's not looking comfortable. I feel like we kind of talked about this a few weeks ago. When you have such a good scorer, if you spend 15 seconds trying to get him the ball and then he spends 4 seconds dribbling into the ground, that's kind of beneficial to the defense. And I think the Celtics are kind of going, hey, Cat, you felt good back to the basket a little bit here. Maybe let's let you waste time doing that. So me personally, I think the Celtics might have unlocked a way to defend him where he's kind of on his own island. But again, my green glasses might be on. You're asking me a lot of questions when you know I don't like betting the Celtics.
Well, chat likes hearing you talk about this team, even if you don't like wagering them. So I have to do my job. 21 plus points from Cat in the last two, 17 and 15 boards. Nothing wrong with taking his rebounds at 11.5 for a playable number, chat, if you want to go that direction. If you don't want to take the PR, if you think that maybe he comes back down to earth scoring a little bit in this game. But okay. That's the first game. Second game of the night, we will be live on playback, or I'll be live on playback. I don't know who will pop in and join me later tonight to watch the Warriors in the Bay take on the Timberwolves, looking to get back into this series as well. I'll bring the graphic back up for you guys to see the live odds that we have pulled up here from BetOnline. The Timberwolves taking on the Warriors, as I mentioned. Warriors at dogs again, plus 180 here at home. The minus 210 money line for the Wolves as 5-point favorites. Over-under set at 200.5. We saw an incredible game 3. Ant-Man almost had a 40-piece. Jimmy Butler was fantastic. Shout out you and me, Sook, on kind of getting in on the Jimmy Butler train before he had a big old performance. And Julius Randle was spectacular with a triple-double. Don't know what we're going to see here in this night tonight. What's your preliminary thoughts on this one? And Shags, obviously, feel free to chime in whenever you got a thought about the association. What's your thoughts on this game? I know you wrote about this one as well at bettingnews.com.
Yeah, I wrote about this one at bettingnews.com, like SPJ said. And the X factor we've been talking about for months reared its head again. The Minnesota Timberwolves and their propensity to get second chance points, boys. In a game that they only won by 5, they outscored them 26-14 in second chance opportunities. This team is using this as their great equalizer against teams as good as the Oklahoma City Thunder. Naz Reid and Rudy Gobert really haven't gotten in on the party, even though they are the 2 best second chance scoring players on this squad. Mr. Julius Randle has really been the reason why the Wolves have been so good in the last 30 games. I think they're 26-5 since he came back from a hamstring injury. So I'm very excited for this game because both these teams are playing elite defense. Both teams shot very well from 3 last game, but we barely saw even 200 points. These teams are not allowing fast break opportunities. They have the clamps on each other. But I am going to Mr. Jonathan Kuminga. I'm going with the hot hand over 22.5 points and rebounds. I went with the hot hand and Jared Allen last game against the Cavs. He had 2 points. They got absolutely drubbed. So be careful here. But Kuminga's been great. I've talked about this before. He's the former 7th overall pick. He is a pace changer. He is the type of dude that the Warriors need to apply pressure to Minnesota's defense. Like I said, there's not a lot of fast breaking opportunities happening in the series. The one guy that can get a fast break by himself is Jonathan Kuminga. He is fast enough to clean the glass and get out in the open break. So I think that if the Warriors make any noise tonight, it's going to be with Jonathan Kuminga once again. I obviously looked at Butler's PRA, little high for my liking. I do really like this play, though. I think Kuminga is kind of battling for not his NBA life. He's solidified that with the contract extension, but what the Warriors are going to do with him here moving forward with the Jimmy Butler extension. Is he expendable? He's trying to prove that he isn't, and I'm betting on him to have another good game today. If you like the points, just take the points, but I think he's going to come out with a lot of heart, so I want the cushion of the rebounds.
I'm terrified of this prop. I looked at it last night. I stared at it. I love it because he's been so good. Now the Kerr's giving him run. But we know that Steve Kerr can pull the plug at any particular point, and this guy will just go sit his ass back on the bench. I think that he can't anymore because they need his offense and how he's been playing, like you mentioned, and he is that off-ball dynamic scorer that kind of pushes the tempo and pushes the pace, which doesn't exist in this Warriors offense with no Steph. And he's a nice complement to kind of deal with another big body compared to just throwing everything in this kitchen sink at Jimmy. So I like it. I'm terrified of it.
You'd be right to be scared, SPJ, because Jackson Davis earned starting opportunity, played 15.
He did.
I had 15 points. They started him, then they played him 11 minutes. So
I know.
who knows what
It makes no
Steve's
sense.
thinking.
He's been in the Bay too long. You know, they got that free green stuff out there, or that legal green stuff. Maybe he's getting a little bit too involved with it before he starts coaching.
Hey, well, we talked about it in All Sauce. I said he's getting a little too comfortable out there.
Sure. We need to change the scenery. No, I dig it, man. I looked at this last night. I think that Kuminga has an awesome opportunity to have a big game once again. You mentioned this guy. I'll kind of sell you guys on who I'm betting in this game. I'm going back to this. This also kind of scares me a little bit too. I'm getting Julius Randle's 13.5 rebounds and assists. I got plus 100 before we started the show. I'm seeing this actually at 12.5 now for minus 130. So you can pay a little juice for a one lower RA. As Sook just mentioned, this guy has been fantastic for this team leading into the playoffs and throughout the entire playoffs since returning from injury in early February. He's been arguably their best player besides Ant. And he is the reason why that they could be a legit title contender moving forward if he keeps playing this way. He had a triple-double last game, 12 assists, 10 rebounds. He had 11 assists and 7 boards the game before that. I was scared of taking his assists last game, and I ended up kicking myself in the ass because I didn't take it, and he obviously had a triple-double. Do I think that he's going to have a triple-double again tonight? Probably not. As Sook said, the Wolves shot really well from 3, and a lot of those were on Randle kickouts. So I don't know if all those shots are going to fall again tonight in the Bay especially, but I'm not going to take this for a guy who's had 18 and 22 RA in the last two games. The rebounding has always been something for Julius that's more of an effort thing, and also the ball falling his direction. And he has been doing that in the last 2 games. 22 rebounding opportunities in their last game. Ended up grabbing 10 of those boards, but he was down there to grab a bunch of them. 11 opportunities for rebounds the game before, only grabbed 7 boards. But the potential assist is the other reason why. In his last 4 games, the last game against the Lakers and all 3 games of this series, double-digit potential assists, 16, 14, 11, and 15 in his last 4 games. If you've been watching this Wolves offense, it gets to the point where, and you said this when we talked about this last time, Sook, that Dante DiVincenzo said that there's nobody that they believe that can guard Julius Randle one-on-one. Mm-hmm. So what happens sometimes when he gets into this rhythm and he's kind of in that bully ball down on the half block type of situation, the Warriors are sending doubles to him because they can't really deal with him and Rudy on the court at the same time defensively. Mm-hmm. And all he has to do is kick the ball out and make the right pass, which he is very good at, especially in his furthering of his career. So I think there's going to be a lot of potential assist opportunities again. I'm banking on the Wolves to kind of knock down some of those open shots that they've been getting again. And I think that this line is just too low. As Rusty said, the double-doubles are very nice, plus 260. And I would be lying to you, Chad, if I didn't say that I sprinkled the triple-double again. Why not go back-to-back? You know what I'm saying? So been a good scorer, too, if you'd rather take the PRA. He's been scoring the basketball really well, too. But I want to rely on the rebounding and the facilitating in this game because I kind of lean with the Warriors maybe to get the job done tonight.
If you think that he regresses, then Naz Reid 2 assists is that a very playable number. And we saw him flirt with triple doubles earlier in the season. He's a fan favorite. The Wolves have also really tightened up that rotation. There's only 8 guys seeing the floor. So Naz Reid is in line for 25 to 28 minutes. So if you think Julius is coming back down to earth, check out Naz.
Yeah, I like that too. I liked his threes as well. He's at 3 threes in every single game against the Warriors in this series. Also has great history against the Warriors. But the thing that scared me off was because you know how many threes he took last game?
3, right? 3 for 3?
3 for 3.
Yeah.
100%. That's always scary.
What could go wrong?
So, what could go wrong, right? Yeah, I would think so, Embiid. You would think that Draymond would come back with a bigger performance tonight.
I like his 7 boards for plus money, to be honest.
I like that. Just to touch on Jimmy before I give the last play too, I like his PRA as well, like you mentioned, but it is like 3 or 4 points higher than it was previously. His points is also now 26.5. We were betting this line like literally 10 days ago at like 21.5. So they've inflated it, as they should, because he had a great game last game, and they need to have him be the offensive focal point for the Warriors with no Steph in the lineup. But it does kind of scare me a little bit, man, because he is not a prolific, like, bona fide scorer. Like, he can at certain stretches and be that guy, but like when push comes to shove, he's not really that guy, like, at the core.
Part of his aura is that he all of a sudden gives you 40.
Yes. He just randomly has a 40 piece in there. And it's like, how does this guy with kind of a funky jumper and like just grit have 40 points on you? That's Jimmy Butler in a nutshell. So I'm with you. I like the points, like the PRA, but I didn't bet it because I'm with you. I think it's a little too high. Last bet, and then we'll start cooking for the parlay from me. You talked about a guy on the Warriors for rebounding. This is a guy who's going to be on the court. I don't really know what he's going to do besides do this. So I'm just going to take this rebounding prop for you guys. Brandon Podziemski over 5.5 rebounds, -122 is the line I got on this. This line's already climbing up. It's already -140. So if you want it, go take it now before it gets to the point where they bump it to 6.5 or plus money. I don't hate it at 6.5 though. He had 8 rebounds last game against the Wolves. He had 8 rebounds in game 1, 6 in the game before that. So he's hit this line in every game in this series. His offense has kind of gotten a little bit stagnant. He's not hitting outside jumpers. He's kind of making some bad offensive decisions, turning the ball over, not really being as good of a facilitator. But he played 39 minutes last game. He's a willing body that knows the offense. And at this point, when Steve Kerr likes you and knows that you're going to run the offense correctly, you're going to be out there on the court. And they need that as well. Double-digit rebounding chances in the last 5 games, 13, 13, 11, 11, and 12. So he is obviously a willing guard, even though he's on the smaller side, likes to get to the glass. And again, with this Warriors team, with the lack of size that they have against the Timberwolves, one of the best rebounding teams in the NBA, all players on the court have to hit the glass. Podziemski's an obviously willing rebounder, even at his size, and he's going to continue to do that. So I like the 5.5, -122. Ladder it to 6.5 if you want for plus money, if that's what you're looking at on your book. I think that he has a good opportunity to hit the glass again. I also like the RA at 9.5 or 10.5. Hasn't really been getting there in the assist department, like I mentioned, but he can have a couple. He's hit his RA in every game in this series as well. So give me B-Pod to just be good, B-Pod. I don't need you to be great. Don't need you to be a world beater. Just be decent. Just be okay.
Be all right.
Be all right. Just be all right at your job. So, all right. There we go, boys. 4 games, 4 great games of hockey and basketball tonight. This is the last week to 10 days chat of double-digit games every single day. Or not double-digit games, but multiple games, double-headers, and multiple games. So soak it in for the next week, because starting next week is probably going to turn into a lot of singular games on the calendar. So lock in while you can.
Baseball double-headers, triple-headers.
Yeah, see how Sook put his head down and said it with a little bit of sadness there.
Oh man,
really funny. Okay, let's go. What do you guys? I'm feeling like you want to do Canes by 2, right?
Yeah.
I'm down with that. I don't want to take their -250 money line. What are they in reg? Like -180, something like that.
Probably right around there. What's this 3-way line?
Canes and reg has been good.
-170. I don't hate that.
Let's take that for the parlay.
As opposed to the end by 2.
Just in case we get some bullshit. All right, so Canes in regulation -170. Do we want to do anything in the Oilers game? We did do this on Saturday where we kind of forced ourselves to take sides and totals that we all liked, and we smacked. I don't think I want to do that in the basketball games, but I'd be down to pick a side or a total in this one. I don't want to ride your under.
I like the Oilers a lot. I like the Oilers a lot. I don't think they drop two straight at home.
We did this on Saturday where we were going to take the Oilers money line, but then we kind of gabbed about it more, and then we ended up taking the over. So are we going to do the same today where you kind of like the under and we don't know about the total, but we just take the Oilers to get the job done?
Oilers and reg?
But just Oilers money.
Yeah, I was going to say, we don't even need to go in reg. Just the straight up money lines, good to go.
Let's do it.
-118.
Yep.
Okay. All right. Oilers money line, Canes in regulation. All right. In the NBA, what did you like from our sell jobs that we pitched, Shags?
I definitely like the B-Pod look. Just be okay. Just be all right.
Just be decent.
Hate that. I like Kuminga too. He's on the same team and in that same game.
Well, why don't we take Kuminga's PR and then we'll get down for Derek White PRA.
I like Derek. Yeah, I can get Derek White.
So then we got a Celtic, and we got 1 play from each game, and then we got the 2 money lines in the NHL.
What could go wrong?
What could go wrong?
What could go wrong, indeed. Let me find out what Kuminga's PR line is here. All right. You said, where are you, Mr. Jonathan?
I got 22.5.
22.5. That's what I'm looking at. Please, Steve Kerr, just play the man. Just make sure, just play him 30 minutes, please, because he deserves it. And you guys are going to be a better basketball team with him out there. So don't do any stupid shit. All right, and then Derek White or Brunson, but I don't know if Sook wants to bet on Brunson.
No, he should.
I'd rather bet on the Oompa Loompas.
Well, there's 100
probably-
of them, so
It's true. He probably already did, to be honest. All right, Derek White, 26, 27 plus PRA. Jonathan Kuminga, 23 plus PR. Oilers money line, Canes and Reg, plus 887. Bing bong bang. Playing each game in the offs tonight, chat. Feel free to lock it in with us if you want to ride the BetSpresso 4. Get involved. I might see if there's better odds somewhere else, so I won't lock that in right this second. But plus 900-ish, chat. There you guys go. Here it is on the board. All right. We haven't done this in a long time, and we're about to run out of time. But we do this on Sauce Team. And Shags, we used to do this a lot on the channel, but we haven't done it on BetSpresso in quite a long time. From the plums, give me some sort of lotto leg.
The Oilers by 2.
Ooh.
And get into that. I can very much so get into that.
That's probably about 2-1, I think, on most books.
All right, Oilers by 2. Plus 186. That'll do.
Close enough.
Sook?
Draymond 7 boards.
What are the odds on that?
I think it's like plus 160.
That man not bored very much anymore. Am I crazy?
It's because with Curry out of the lineup, he has to run kind of that 0.5 a lot. So he's kind of on the perimeter quite often.
Okay. I see 8 plus for plus 265.
7 plus 152.
Yep. That'll do.
That'll do.
That's good too.
I'm also down with that. Derek White rebounds. He has been so good on the glass. The other one I was going to say was Brunson, but I don't think Sook wants to bet that either.
You can do Brunson in the lotto. We got Oilers
lotto, yeah.
2 in the lotto.
Okay. Brunson for what is the 30? We don't have. Or Embiid's Randall double. That would be my other suggestion.
What about Rudy
Brunson
Gobert double?
No, absolutely not. This guy. If he's gonna have a double chat, go lock it in, but no.
I like Randall. I think Randall's a good one.
All right, let's go Randall then.
Randall double.
We'll leave Brunson to fight the Oompa Loompas. Randall double plus 230. Plus 1766. Great year it was. Draymond, 7 boards, Julius Randle double, and the Edmonton Oilers just to win by 2. That's all we need.
That's all we need. Easy.
Good stuff. Good stuff. Absolutely love to see it. All right. Great show, guys. Good stuff.
Sir.
Great way to start the week, chat. Drop a dub. Hope you guys enjoyed the show. Thanks for tuning in, as always, right here on the Betting News Network. We got a huge double dip for you guys tomorrow. We got the pick off of Mr. Colby Marcio. Colby Marcio has a guest joining in tomorrow.
Ooh.
A very special guest dropping in and hanging out with Mr.
You're
Marcio.
Going to want to be there, chat.
You're going to want to tune in.
You're going to want to be
tomorrow for that.
You guys are teasing me.
Central.
Yeah.
4:30.
I got the tingles.
Stop teasing me.
It'll get dropped on the timeline tomorrow. But yeah, Mr. Marcio pick off, and then directly following that, another hour of Puckett with me, Inzy, and Gretzky Betskis to get you guys primed and ready for the singular hockey game in the NHL tomorrow. We got the W coming back later this week, chat, as the WNBA kicks off this on Friday. We're gonna have a special Sauce Team and WNBA collaboration on Friday for the show there.
Lady balls and boy balls together. Tune in.
Love when that happens. It's the best. Good stuff. Thanks so much for tuning in. Go follow Shaggy. Go follow Sook. Go follow myself. Go follow all of us at Your Betting News. Get involved with all of our free content at bettingnews.com. You guys know the deal. And big thanks to our sponsors at BetOnline. Smacking.
And
We're going to be smacking.
2 sponsors now. My goodness.
They just
I
sit right
know.
there. Hell yeah.
They just sit on top. We absolutely love to see it.
70
Good stuff.
for the smack and bet next time.
I'll clip the segment for you, and you can send it to your grandma.
Beauty. She'll love that.
Mm-hmm. That's what we're looking for. B. Done. Turning a cup of coffee into a bottle of Champers. That's what we
You
like.
nut.
You nut. You absolutely nut. You guys came for the winners and you stayed for the vibes. Have a great Monday, chat. Get out there and enjoy these games tonight. We will see you tomorrow when this parlay smacks. Take it easy, chat. Peace.
What you know about rolling down in the down in the
Now I know y'all be loving this shit
what
right
you know
here.
about rolling.
What you gonna do?
Rolling.
What you gonna do now?
Down in the rolling. what you know about